Hey everybody, Alan Papaleo here for Ergo Professional Styling Tools. And I'm really happy to be here to be able to share with you one of my very favorite tools by Ergo that I use every day in the salon behind the chair, and that is the Ergo Hot Razor. My favorite tool for cutting deconstructed hair, for being creative behind the chair after I've been using my shears. My favorite tool just to really seamlessly create beautiful organic shapes. So why do we razor cut? Most of us cut, and we should, every day with shears. We do a lot of great shapes. Shears give us a lot of control, precise partings, sections. We were very aware. We learn on those shears, and we really learn how to control the hair. So it's very invaluable and one of my favorite tools. We also use clippers. Clippers can remove in a mechanical way the hair, create really close shapes very quickly. Clippers are very, very good, of course, for a lot of the shorter cuts, for men's cuts especially. But why do we grab a razor? Well, we grab a razor normally so that we can get rid of a lot of hair right away, first of all. But also it creates an immediate response to the hair. We see a shape coming right away. And we are, of course, normally doing that on wet hair because, as we know, a razor on dry hair can be just devastating. It can create split ends. It could really just ruin that hair cuticle. The Ergo Hot Razor will not do that. This is my tool of choice for cutting dry hair. This is the big plus for me because I do a lot of dry hair cutting. I do a lot of dry hair cutting with shears. I use my flat iron after I blow dry, I smooth the hair out, and I shear cut into dry hair. I love cutting dry hair. But there are those times when I want to be able to just grab that razor, before I want to grab a razor and get in there. I go, wait, that's going to mess up that hair. They're going to feel it. Even a lot of the guests know about that. But the Ergo Hot Razor will not do that because the razor heats up to 360 degrees. And that temperature, that's a dedicated temperature that we found at Ergo that will close down the cuticle. It seals it off, creating a really clean shape. And it makes the hair very, very healthy. When you turn the razor on, first of all, look at the razor. It's a really cool razor. It's very stylish looking. It has a very sleek handle. And what I like about this is that it feels great in either hand. And I've taught myself, not with shears, however, but with my razor, I can cut with both hands, and I really enjoy that. So it feels great, it's well balanced. It also has a 10-foot long cord, and that 10-foot long cord is really important because when you work around the chair, you want to be able to really have mobility and keep your body moving like a little hair ninja, right? So you want to be able to successfully create without being hindered. And with all Ergo tools, our wonderful dryer, our flat and smoothing iron, our crimping iron, our tools all have 10-foot long cords. This is really an asset to those of us who do move around a lot. I mean, I know there are some stylists who stand in one spot. I'm not one of those. I'm pretty sure you're not either. I like to be able to get up and move around, especially when I'm cutting because I have my guests stand a lot of times, turn around and do all kinds of things so I can see what's happening when their head is upright and they're moving. So this cord really helps out. When I turn the razor on, you'll notice when I hit the on switch, which is really easy to get to right here, when I turn it on, you're going to see that there's a little red light that comes on. That light lets you know that the razor is heating up. And how long does it take to heat up? It only takes 60 seconds, which is really, really cool. So you don't have to wait a long time. And I recommend that if you're not working with the razor at that moment, and you say you're cutting with the shear and you're cutting using the razor turned off on wet hair, of course, just leave it aside. Don't even turn it on yet because it does heat up very quickly. And you want to really save the life of your razor. This is an electrical appliance, so you want to make sure you really take care of it. All of our tools, have great warranties, but you want to make sure that you as a professional really take care of your babies, and your tools are your babies. So what kind of a blade do I use in this? Well, we have an amazing blade that it's called the 2-in-1. It comes in a little case, and it's called a 2-in-1 blade because You know, when you're cutting with a razor, normally you can get 2 cuts, 3 cuts out of a razor before you might have to change it. If you cut a lot of hair with razors, you're going to go through a lot of blades. It just stands to reason. The 2-in-1 blade is cool because when you, we have the blade in right now. I'm going to show you, we have a little lever here. I'm going to push. I'm going to push this right now. And you see that the razor popped out, part of it. And if you see it right here, there's a little notch that's indented right there. That notch is indented because I've already used this blade twice. If I didn't use the blade twice and I pop this out, that will be a completely solid piece right there. So what I can do is take that razor out. I'll show you with the razor right here. You take the razor out, you see that little indentation, and you push on the little notch right here, and it pushes that razor back behind those little grooves, and it exposes new blade. So that's really important. You know, you're getting twice the amount of cuts off of one blade, so it's really a great asset. So to get rid of this, to change the blade, so we push it out, and to put a new blade in, very, very simple. Just take your little cartridge here, put your razor onto one of the blades, and you know, I don't have my glasses on, so that could be, I'm getting glare with my glasses, so I want to make sure that I do this right for you. Put it onto the blade. I should put my glasses on, seriously, but I'll do it this way because it's much easier. So, hey, we're all friends here, so I can do this. So you put it in, and we come out from our cartridge here, and just push down on it, and it's going to put the blade right in. So if you wear glasses, put your glasses on when you do that. Otherwise, you know, if you're not on video, otherwise you're going to have that kind of a little problem there. So now I have the blade in, and I'm going to turn it on. The light is on, so it's going to tell me that I have 60 seconds to get into my work. And when I use the hot razor, I really do explain to my guests before I start working with it what I'm doing. Because guests are really savvy. They know quite a bit about what we're doing behind the chair. They read a lot more sometimes in fashion magazines and beauty magazines more than we do. So they know that a razor cuts could be kind of deadly to their hair. So I like, you know, and if you ever had this happen, you get the razor and you go, oh, you're not using it on me, not on me. Well, it's time to start educating them as well. So I let them know that I'm using the hot razor, that it's going to, and their hair is going to feel healthier after I'm done with it. And even with curly hair or finer hair, I can create safely a beautiful shape with this. And once they feel this going through their hair, actually, they're not going to feel it because the first time I used it, true story, first time I used it on a client, I was working with it right around her face here, and she said to me, are you okay? I go, yeah. Well, she goes, do you have a fever? I go, no. She goes, oh, because your hands, when they come close, I can feel heat. Well, it's the hot razor. See, I learned that I needed to start telling them this. And she goes, well, I didn't really feel it going through my hair. I said, yeah. She goes, yeah, it's like butter. I said, you're absolutely right. It is like, going through a hot knife through butter. If it just goes through so beautifully. So I want to share some techniques with you right now that are really kind of fun. And remember, compared to any other razor, whatever I could do with this regular razor, it's a good razor, I can do with this, with the Ergo Hot Razor, but I can do it on dry hair. And I can do other things with this that this razor right here cannot do. And I'll explain those things to you also. So on this cut, I did a pre-cut bob, and I did this whole cut with the hot razor. I'm going to show you some of the techniques that you can use that you wouldn't really think about doing with a regular razor on dry hair, and you really can't do on wet hair because the hair will bunch up more. So one of those techniques is going into, instead of scissor over comb, I'm going to use razor over comb. And what I want to do is take in this nape line a lot closer. So I'm going to go, since I'm using the razor, and the razor, again, frees me up, it's a little more creative for me, a more creative tool, I'm going to also use the wider teeth of my comb. And both these things will give me a little looser, more organic look. So I'm going to go in, and I have the back of the razor, so I'm lifting with my comb in the back of that razor. I'm getting the hair up. And notice I'm just going to go through and work my way up. And you're going to see this fringe right here, you're going to see this start to disappear as I work my way up. Just doing a beautiful razor over comb. And when the razor is turned on, I ask you to not cut onto their neck because they will feel the heat. And then you'll feel some pain yourself. So again, going up. And nothing says that you can't go in after this and use just your shear if you want to clean up the very, very bottom. I'm going to turn this way so you can see better. Again, taking the wide teeth, back of the razor lifts the hair up, and just working my way right in. So this is giving a very, very soft, natural feel to the neckline there. Do it on both sides. Once you start working with this tool, you're going to be very excited about it because you're going to be able to do some things that you've been wanting to do, or maybe have been doing and you shouldn't have been doing with your other tool, the other razor, and just work your way up and feel good about how you're creating that shape. So I think you can see it's much more indented, much more graduated feel to it, a softer feel in the nape area. And this was a technique, just instead of scissor over comb, it was the razor over comb. So now another thing, a lot of times we will do a shape and we blow it out, and we weren't, because the hair moved a little bit in a different direction when you started to dry it, because the growth pattern really comes into play, right? So you pulled the hair in a natural fall that you thought, and it was, but then when it dries, the roots start to take over, so it might move over a little bit, and you might get a little bit of movement, or almost it could even look like a ledge if you were not really precise with your elevation as you moved up. Another way we can work with is the surface. Now, the razor, all razors have three different areas that we work with. The one area here, of course, is the flat shape of the razor, the whole body of the razor, flat shape. And we do that for any kind of planing, any kind of, long strokes that we want a lot more hair taking off. We have the toe of the razor. The toe of the razor is for a lot of that detail work. And when you want to go in and just do some detail, some point cutting. The heel of the razor I use quite a bit because I do a lot of over directing of hair, and I get the razor underneath the shape, and I start from the heel of the razor and I work my way through. So when you learn to work with all three areas of that blade, you'll start seeing the possibilities. And let me go back a little bit too about feeling comfortable working with a razor, because a lot of people are not. And I wasn't, of course, when I first started it. For years, I wouldn't use this is a true story, I wouldn't use clippers. I didn't like clippers. They kind of scared me for some reason or other. I never learned them or about them in beauty school, and it just didn't interest me. So anybody who came in, how the guys came in, I want a number one here, and well, I would just say, well, you know what, I'm an artist, I could do it with my shear, and I would spend a lot of time scissor over combing that hair in. It looked great, but I could have saved myself a lot of time and actually made them probably happier because they wanted that clipper. Same thing with razors. Once you get a razor, you start to, and you're afraid of it, just do a few little things. Those few little things, those baby steps, are going to help you enter into a complete array of techniques that you never thought you would be doing. So again, this tool is going to liberate your creativity. So, getting back into the shape here. One technique I said we just did was the razor over comb. Now I'm going to go through this and just soften using the complete body of the razor. This is really important for blonde hair. You have a lot of light hair that shows, I mean, you can look at it wrong and it gets a mark. You want to be able to soften those edges. So on blonde hair, this is a great technique. What I'm going to do is, I just want to soften this where the graduation ends and the length starts coming in. So I'm going to go in. I've already blue dry flat ironed it. And I'm just going to go in and again, using the wide teeth of my comb, I'm going to comb through and just lightly, can you see it this way better? No, I better change this way. Lightly go in and just work my way down. Now you don't want to go in very, very hard because it's a razor and you can create a hole in there. So you want to go in there and just very, very lightly work your way down. Now I'm doing this against the head. If you want, you can just take your section, hold it like you normally hold it, and go that way. Either way. I do a lot with my comb as taking the place of my fingers because I'm able to really look at the shape differently. And I can take it, move it around, and I can really see how it's responding. Again, a razor gives you immediate response. You know exactly what's going to happen. And so keeping a very light hand, just combing it in its natural fall, going in, and gently taking out any bulk that you see or any kind of a little bit of a line. This also happens a lot when if you have a guest who you didn't do the color on and they're coming in for a first time and you're just going to get a cut, and you got into those haircuts and all of a sudden you see like little steps that aren't steps, but it's actually color that it didn't blend in or whatever. Honestly, this technique right here will help you alleviate that whole mess right there. It creates a much softer shape to the eye. So again, this technique is wonderful for creating a softer perimeter line, blending in one length to graduation, or creating a softer look, getting rid of any steps that may be in the haircut. Now, going into the front here, I want to shape her bang area here, fringe a little bit here. So let me I was talking about using the heel of the razor also. So what I'm going to do first of all is take some of this out of the way. And I want this area here now to drape across the face. So what I'm going to do is take a section of the fringe. So I'm just taking that section. So this is all by itself here. I'm going to over direct it away to the opposite side. I'm going to take my hot razor and I'm going to use just the heel, the inside part of the razor, and just work my way across from underneath. And already I'm starting to get that little bit of a shape going down. Again, taking that section, and I'm going from short to long using the heel. You can see this, it's kind of hard. And bringing it over. So I'm just getting the first amount of hair off and then letting it fall in its natural position. And you can take this and just hold it almost like a pencil if you want to work with it that way. And again, using the heel, going in there and just etching it out. So this is just creating a very, very soft angle using the heel of the razor, the inside part, the heel of the razor, and it's just creating a beautiful, beautiful framing of the face. So as you bring it around, you just see softness all through here. if you want to get into any kind of weight release in the interior of a cut, you can take your section, and this could be for any shape of hair. It doesn't have to be a bob. It could be for one length hair. You can work with any shape of hair, any length. Just take your section. I'm going to do a weaving cut. Now, with this razor, with a regular razor, I would be weaving up and down this way here, almost like the motion of a wave. With this one here, I'm going to maybe make circles. So I'm going to go in, and then just take out the weight. It's a circular motion. Instead of going this way, which when I do that, look how the hair separates. I'm going to go in, again, I'll show you. Going in a waving motion, you start to separate the hair a lot, and you get bigger chunks. With that circular motion going in and out, you get much softer pieces, and you're able to just remove weight very easily. So again, a great technique. You might have a guest who comes in who they love their shape, but they want their hair thinned out. That thinning out stuff kind of gets to me because it's an old-fashioned way of doing it, and there are new ways of doing it. And with the razor, I'm able to, especially the hot razor, I'm able to actually see the response to the dry hair, how it's really going to sit where it lives, as opposed to going in using a shear or some other razor on wet hair. I get to actually see what's happening, the difference here. And by doing this technique especially, I call it stealth layering, because you don't really see it, especially if you're leaving that top layer over that. So it blends in beautifully, but it gives you a movement that you wouldn't get otherwise on wet hair. Again, talking before about getting rid of frizziness. This is an actual technique I do in a service that we do in the salon for people who have split ends. So again, especially on longer hair, you have those people who are not going to cut that hair, but it's gorgeous hair, except you can see all that little flyaways. So what you can do on the longer hair as a service, you can take the sections of hair. I like to start when I do this technique at the nape, and I section it off in 4 quadrants, and I work at systematically. This is when I really want to be able to see that I'm covering every single section. But you can take the section and you can twist it as you go down, and on those longer lengths especially, you'll start seeing hair that pops up. Those are those split ends. All you need to do, again, you don't want to take your razor pointing down. You want to lay it basically flat and just move through and slightly release the hair as you go. Longer hair, of course, you're going to do that longer and longer. But you're going to see, and it's not a ton of hair coming off, it's the split ends. And that's what the whole reason behind that technique is. So you want to show them what's going on. And they will see the difference, you'll see the difference, because it really takes it off and seals that cuticle as you're doing it. Human hair extensions. If you do any kind of hair extension work, it can be kind of hard to blend in sometimes. It's very easy with the Ergo Hot Razor. Again, it's a very unique tool to seamlessly go through the natural hair and the human hair and give it a spot-on blend that is going to just melt into each other. So you're not going to see where the real hair, that lived in that head since birth, where that real hair ends and the add-on hair begins. So you're going to see a beautiful fusion of that. So again, these are some of the techniques that you can do with the Ergo Hot Razor. Whatever you can come up with, whatever you're coming up with right now behind the chair for your guest, your techniques can be done with this. The unique quality of the Ergo Hot Razor, again, it's you can cut the dry hair. You can also turn it off, and you can cut wet hair. You can use this tool for so many other techniques on dry hair that you would just don't want to do on wet hair. So it's just great. It's a great tool for creativity. I really urge you to get one. Expand your horizons of creativity. There's nothing better than to, go home from work that day and go, you know what? I did some great work. I did some great hair today. One thing about Ergo is that, all of our tools, we've designed them to ergonomically feel good in your hands for you to work with your body. They're designed by professionals for professionals. We hear this all the time, but this is the real deal. We actually do this. And we try to come up with techniques and looks and ideas for you to stay creative behind the chair. We've had a really crazy last year, and we're going to have a great year coming up here. So let's just get on board to creativity. Let's think out of the box, and let's have a great time doing hair, especially using the Ergo Hot Razor. Thanks for watching.